Ah, good to see you all. Good to be here this morning. What a bright, lovely crowd. You all look good. Let me just look around. Hi. Hi, Karen. Hi, Linda. Rob, you looking good? Hey, Rob's going to be doing his first Wednesday coming up. When is it?
6th.
April 6th? March 6th? March 6th.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Rob's first Wednesday doing his minister thing here on this platform. Hey, Bill. Good to see you. Gita, I want that recipe from 2 weeks ago. That was so good. John, have you written any new poems lately? The answer's yes. He always writes poems. He's always writing. Wally, Colleen, you guys got any new dogs? Because they're always taking in more Samoyeds. Have you ever? Y'all know Samoyeds?
Yes.
The happy, smiling dogs. I've had 5 of them. They are such sweet dogs. They are such sweet dogs. Okay, anyway. So this thank you, that's mine. That comes from a story that Michael Beckwith tells. When he was teaching his first foundations class, he taught that foundations class with a very famous practitioner in the movement named Juanita Dunn. And after the class was over, the class was so impactful that all the students paid the tuition, so they all got money for the class. But it was so impactful that they gathered up a collection and they gave it to them. And after the class was over, Michael, was given Reverend Michael, Dr. Michael, whatever, was given titles are nothing trying to appear as something. Just remember that, So they gave him the collection. And he's like, oh, no, thank you, but no. And Juanita reached over and goes, thank you, that's mine, and took hers, And that's what the giving of Spirit is all about. We're always receiving the gifts, but we're so quickly to dash them off, oh, that's such a lovely sweater. Oh, this whole thing. No, please, no. But really, you want it. You want it. You want the compliment, and they want to give you the compliment. So say thank you. That's mine. Don't hold back. Remember the story I told about Reverend Mark last week on his birthday? And he was he went to a birthday dinner. His friend said, make sure you leave your wallet behind. And the homeless guy came up to him. See, that story would be totally incomplete if Mark had just gone like, oh, no, you keep your dollar. No. He had to say, thank you. That's mine. He had to receive that. So when you receive the gifts of the blessings of the divine, take it in. Don't give it the no, it's not me. My brother is in South Africa right now. It's his 6th trip to Africa. He's been to 5 different countries. I'm like, dude, how do you do this? And they're all paid for. He goes there, he does these artist in residency programs, and he teaches young kids. And at one of his trips, he was in Tanzania, and a woman was wearing this beautiful green fabric or something that he really thought was gorgeous. And he says, oh my God, sister, that is such beautiful, beautiful fabric. And she says, yes, it is, isn't it? Thank you for noticing. But here's the rest of the story, which I just found out about yesterday when I was talking to him on WhatsApp, because I ain't going to pay for going to call in South Africa. I'm going to do it for free. So, because thank you, that's mine. It's free. But the rest of the story was he talked further with her, and it turns out that the reason she was saying thank you is because in her thought, the reason she was able to put that fabric together, the reason why she was able to create that ensemble is because of the ancestors who put that sense of creativity, that sense of beauty, that sense of appreciation into her consciousness, right? So when she said, thank you for noticing, she was saying it not just for noticing her, but noticing her ancestry, noticing the ancestors who brought her that wisdom. Right? So it's a total completion of this circulation, and we believe in the law of circulation. That's what it's all about, you see? And Dr. Holmes talks about this. He says, the Spirit is ever giving, but we must take. What life does for us must be done through us, you see? So this happening, this relationship we have with the divine is all about a give and take. Just the breath, right? A constant give and take. This is what we're here to do. We're here to say thank you and to accept and to use those gifts that we receive. I'm thinking about the parable of the 10 talents. You know that one? The guy, the very famous, very rich landowner was going away for a while. And before he took off, This is one of Jesus' favorite stories. Before he took off, he gave 3 of his servants. One he gave 5 talents. Another he gave 2. Talents are just gold coins. He gave 5 gold coins to one, 2 gold coins to another, and 1 gold coin to the third. The guy with the 5 gold coins went right out to the market. He invested the money. He made 5 more. He had 10. The guy with 2, he went out and he sold some items. He bought something. He sold some items. He ended up with 4. The guy with 1 honored his master, was so grateful that he received the gift, he buried the gift in the ground so nothing would happen to it. When the master came back, the first guy says, oh, I made 5. I gave you here, I made 10. Oh, that's great. The next guy, I made 4. Oh, that's great. The last guy, well, here's your talent back. He took it and he gave it to the first guy. Because the gifts that you have, if you do not use them, they will be taken from you. In the Gospel of Thomas, it says, that is within you will save you. What is within you, if you do not use it, it will destroy you. I may have rephrased it somewhat, but that's basically the idea. I like to channel Dr. Holmes. He always says, don't quote me, because my quotes are probably wrong, and I don't even remember who said them first. But they sound good when they come out of my mouth. You know? If you read in the Holmes papers, he talks about that in there. My teacher, one of my teachers, Dr. Arthur Chang, wrote a book called The New Positive Spirituality. And in it he says, gratitude knows that possibility seeing precedes possibility being. You have to see it to be it. And that's the great thing about the science of mind teaching. It teaches us exactly that. As we see it, as we mentally embody it, as we hold it into consciousness, then the laws of the universe proceed to bring it into being. They take our possibility that we see and it becomes the possibility that we be. This is just simply the way that it works. And it's our opportunity as religious scientists. I love that we're called religious scientists. What does a scientist do? He goes to the laboratory. He mixes some stuff together. He says, let's see, is this going to work? Okay, that didn't work. Let's try it again. He mixes stuff together, and then, boom, gold, right? That's what we do. We mix the possibilities and the elements of our lives, our gifts, our talents. We mix them together, and we create gold. We're alchemists of the spirit. That's what we get to do, you know? We don't hope or wish or try. We do, we prove, we see, we receive, and then we say, thanks, that's mine. We follow the example of the great teacher. Dr. Holmes admired Jesus so much that he gave half of his textbook to quotes from Jesus and explained them out for a little bit for us. And in one of those explanations, he talks about this. Jesus' method of approach during his entire ministry, which was pretty short, 3 years. His entire ministry, 3 years. We're still talking about the dude, even today. Or at least I am. I don't know if you guys talk about him, but I'm amazed. I'm amazed by anybody. You know, I've been here 3 years, and I don't think they'll be talking about me in 2,000 years. I mean, maybe if I'm here for 25 years, maybe they'll talk about me for 50. Maybe, if you guys live that long, you know? Gosh. Anyway, Jesus' method of approach during, not trying to compare myself with Jesus, I'm just amazed. I just heard that out of my mouth. Like, no, I'm just amazed at the guy, 3 years. He's like, it's great. That's awesome. It's awesome. His entire ministry, though, check it out. What did he do? Give thanks. Give thanks. Then command the law to work. The Lord's Prayer, our Father. He already, right, humbles himself to it, says, I'm one with it, right? And then he gives thanks before anything. It's my Father within me that does the work. Lazarus, get up and walk. My Father gives me the power to do this. The blind man, get up and see. That's how he worked. That's why we have Thanksgiving as part of our prayer, our spiritual mind treatment. That's why we're always here to be grateful, to say thank you. That's my gift. That's my talent. That's mine. I'm going to use it. I'm going to change it from 5 to 10. I'm going to increase it by using the law. The law is always working. We have to remember that. I think parents remember that, or maybe sometimes they don't. I don't know. I know that in my own, I feel so blessed. I have such great parents. A lot of people talk about their parents. My parents, they didn't have a manual. They did pretty good without a manual. Most of my parts work. It's okay. It's all right. They did a good job. And I think they're always thinking about, how do you take care of your kids? How do you make their life even that much better? How do you make them safe? How do you create a world where they're not going to be endangered? I'm thinking about the farmer and his son, the one that had the horses. You know the story, right? The farmer with the horses, and he lets the horse out of the son lets the horse out of the corral, and the horse takes off, and the neighbor comes over, and he says, "Oh my goodness, it's harvest time." Thought I'd put it in a different spot so it might not go out halfway through the talk, so I might not. Hold on. It's working. It's working for you. I don't care how it works for me. I want it to work for you. So here's the neighbor, the nosy neighbor, Mrs. Kravitz, comes over and says, "Oh my God, it's harvest time. Your horse is gone. Who's going to pull your plow? What are you going to do? This is absolutely terrible." And the farmer says, "Who knows what's good or bad?" Right? Next day, the son comes back. He's found the horse in a field with wild horses. He brings his tame horse back, and the wild horses follow. Now the farmer's got a corral full of horses. And the nosy neighbor comes back over and goes, "Oh my God, look at your good fortune. This is so wonderful." And the farmer goes, "Oh, who knows what's good or what's bad?" Next day, the son says, "Wow, that gray mare looks really fun. I'm going to break that gray mare." But no, the gray mare tosses him and breaks his arm. And so now the son can't help the father, and here comes the nosy neighbor again. "Your son broke his arm. You got all these horses. How are you going to cut these horses? How are you going to tame these horses? How are you going to break these horses now? Oh, this is terrible." Farmer says, "Who knows what's good or bad?" A week later, the kingdom is at war. The troops come. They're looking for conscripts for the army. They can't take his son because he's got a broken arm. Who knows what's good or bad? But we're always trying to figure out. We're always trying to say. Dr. Holmes says this too. He says, "How often do we condemn when we should forgive?" Forgive the son. He was doing the best he could. "How often we censor when we might praise?" When we might praise. There's a famous sultan. The Sufis like to tell this story. He had a very loyal servant. The servant's name was Ayez. And he had sat at the sultan's feet and listened to the sultan's wisdom and really felt like he was mano a mano with the guy, even though he was a sultan and he was the dervish. And one day, the sultan, while he's talking, takes a cucumber out of the basket of fruit and cracks the cucumber in half, hands one half to Ayez. Ayez opens the cucumber up. He starts eating on it. Sultan takes a bite, goes, spits it out. "Look, it's bitter. How can you eat this bitter cucumber?" And Ayez says to the Sultan, "You have given me such wisdom. You've given me such treats, such wisdom, such great thoughts, that whatever comes from you, I believe is sweet." He celebrates. He praises. He doesn't condemn. We must learn to trust the law, to know that our deepest intention, like the father who wanted to protect his son, our deepest intention, like Ayez who wanted to honor his sultan, our deepest intentions are always going to be realized because the law is listening to that deeper feeling. It's not on the top surface. It's what's deeply inside of us. And we forget that on a regular basis. That's why somebody around here says, "Remember to remember." I heard it was Dr. Dennis. I think that's why we have to come here every week. Why I'm so blessed to have this particular job, because I have an incredible short memory. So as a result, every week I get to dive back into these texts and remind myself that there is a power in the law. And that we must use that power with a sense of faith and trust and not with an area of doubt. We must allow it to circulate and do so with a sense of gratitude, of saying thank you. Because this is essential to our spiritual development, you see, to know about these principles. We know this stuff, right? But back to Sufi wisdom again. Check it out. A scholar who does not practice what he has learned is like a donkey with a load of books. Quite frequently. Every now and then, I shake the books off my back, and I actually open one. And I remember that there is a power in our teaching, and that we can actually demonstrate our good. There's so much wisdom in taking the time to just be and to be present with what we know, and to entertain the thoughts that we know on a deep and even, I don't want to say unconscious, and not even subconscious, an embodiment, a cellular level. There was a teacher in a small village that didn't have a schoolhouse. It only had a leftover wall of a building it used to be, and that's where this teacher would write his lessons for his students. And one day a poor bum in the village said, I want to learn, went to the teacher, I want to learn how to read, I want to learn how to write. And the teacher says, okay, I will teach you. He says, okay, thank you. So the teacher goes over to the board and says, well, first we should learn the alphabet. This is the first letter of the alphabet. It's called Alif, and he writes Alif on the wall. The bum takes off. Thank you. And he takes off. The teacher goes, but I'm not through. That's just the first letter. He's gone. He didn't even hear him, right? And he's thinking, well, maybe he'll come back tomorrow. We'll do more. The bum doesn't come back tomorrow. He doesn't come back next week. He doesn't come back for 5 months. 5 months. The teacher forgot all about him. 5 months later, he comes back, and the bum says, I'm ready. I'm ready for my next lesson. Okay. Well, maybe we should review. Do you remember the first lesson? Yes, I do. That was to write the first letter, Aleph. Let me show you. He writes the letter on the wall, and the wall crumbled. Do you get what happened? He so embodied that lesson. He so understood the power of just that one letter that his understanding, writing that letter on the wall, crumbled the wall. That's the power that we have within our teaching when we really understand how it works. We really understand how to use it. We can make stuff happen. Maybe not crumble a wall, but maybe build the life that's inside of us that we sometimes think we can't. It's not even that we can't. It's really that we won't. And it's won't because we don't. We don't practice these principles to the level that we make demonstrations. But it is within our power to do this. It's in our power to crumble a wall. Or in this case, build a life. That's incredible. That's beautiful. But it requires trusting Spirit, knowing that Spirit is in you, as you, and moving through you on a regular basis. All right? The song you talked about healing, taking the Spirit and knowing that it can heal you. That really touched me. It was a lot about what Dr. Holmes talks about in the Science Mind textbook, where he says, if we wish to come to Spirit for the healing of our wounds, let us come in peace and with spontaneous joy. For Spirit is joy. Let us come with thanksgiving, for a thankful heart is in harmony with life. You know, we can sometimes get so literal about the words. When we come to a healing of our wounds, sometimes our wounds are simply our dreams that have become daydreams instead of realities. That our thoughts and ideas that just float around here in that ever space of emptiness of the brain sometimes before they become the mass, the matter, the thing in our life. We want to get rid of that. Here's the recipe. Come with peace. Come with a sense of comfort, a knowing, a confidence, a serenity, a trust that just says, yeah, this is possible. And I am the possible maker. I am the permissionary to my own life. I give myself permission by using the law, by understanding that love is what's animating everything, animating life itself. And having that understanding, it brings a sense of joy. It allows you to eat a bitter cucumber and go, hey, this is good. This is okay, right? It allows you to see a mishap in your life, a loss, something taken from you, as just an opportunity for something new to come into your life. You're not lost anything, you know? We, in our own family, we lost someone last night. But then another idea came to mind, that this was a spirit that was released from the infinite presence and that we were there at the moment to give it back. So when you lose something, maybe you're just giving it back to the universe to start over again, right? Because there is no loss in the universe, because everything is infinite. If something's within infinity, it can't be lost, because infinity has no bounds. So it can't be lost outside of infinity. It just goes somewhere else. You just give it back until you use this teaching that we have to bring it back into manifestation in a whole new way. So that allows you to just be spontaneously joyful about everything that's coming into your life, right? And then you do it with a thankful heart. With a thankful heart, which is in harmony with life. Everything that's happening that we see is in harmony. It's vibrational energy working together in harmony. You see, it's not discordant. When it's discordant, it breaks apart. But when it's in harmony, it stays together. That's what holds the songs together. That's what holds all our cells together. They're in harmony. They're working with one another. And it really, a key to it all is just being grateful. Going back to Dr. Chang for a minute, I like this phrase he's put out here. He says, gratitude will work like a pebble dropped in a pond, radiating circles of positive feelings out into infinity. You can be the holder of the pebble and drop it and let that radiate out, so it becomes not just a feeling of positivity into infinity, it becomes a feeling of your reality bouncing back. When the pebbles bounce back and radiate back, it brings back your good. All right? So this idea of praise, I had one of my early teachers was a guy named Reverend George Hines, now known as Reverend Amati. And he's married, he's a religious science minister, he's married to a fundamentalist Christian. They have a great life. And the reason they have a great life is because they realize that they both love God. And one of the ways they love God is they do praise. He taught one of my early classes. I took foundations at 3 different churches. And it wasn't remedial, I just liked it so much. And George had us do praise at the end of every class. He would play this hard, deep, fundamentalist Christian music, and we would literally get up and we would praise Jesus. And we would just get elevated with this sense of thanksgiving and joy, right? And then he would teach us how to do treatment. And in that class, treatments were powerful. Why? Because we came from this place of spontaneous joy. We came from that place of spontaneous feeling. Catherine Ponder talks about it, about praising your good. In the prayer circle that's studying her, Catherine Ponder. Now, who's in the prayer circle on Mondays? When you watch out for these folks, they're doing some serious praying. Watch out for what happens for the center because of the prayers they're doing. We're going to incorporate that in the annual meeting a little bit later. But this kind of praise, this kind of thanksgiving, this kind of gratitude, this kind of giving, radiating out, works for all. Back to a T. Michael story for a minute before we close things off. He was in South Africa on an earlier trip, and he likes to take stuff over there. This time he took baseball caps to give to the kids. But the last time, a couple times ago he was there, he gave candy out. And he was surrounded by all these kids, and he gave away all of his candy. And he thought he had gotten all the kids the candy. And then when he turned back around, there was one little boy standing there, one last little boy standing there. And he went, oh, okay. And he's got this, as Michael says, the international look of gimme. So he digs in his bag, and he's digging in his bag, and he finds one more piece of candy. And as he reaches in the bag and pulls out the piece of candy, he turns around. Now there's 3 little boys there. But he's only got one piece of candy. Now this is really telling. This is a very cultural telling story. He says, from my perspective, the first kid there gets the candy. So he gave the candy to the first kid that was there. That kid immediately opened the candy up, broke it into 3 pieces without even missing a beat, and gave 2 pieces to the other 2 little boys. You see? Because he was living in that space of spontaneous joy and gratitude, and knew that there was always going to be enough, and whatever he had needed to be shared with others. So this teaching that we have is that same kind of thing. It's what we have that we know that we can use, that we can then share with others. So as you go out this week and think about the thank you that's mine, think about the talents. How can you break your good into pieces to share with another? How can you be that dropper of the pebble and let it radiate out and be good? Did you hear what it said? No speakable content? No speakable content could be found on the screen. That's right. It can't be found on the screen. No. It's in your mind. It's on the screen of your mind. It's not on the screen of your phone. Right? It's awesome. I love Siri. Siri speaks at our house all the time because Johanna calls me sweetie. Hi, sweetie. Da, 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 da. And Siri goes, I'm sorry, I cannot find that. Shall I look it up on the web? You know. I love our technology. It's awesome. It allows us to do amazing things. But it only allows us to do amazing things that we generate from ourselves. Right? So as you look forward into the week and look for the opportunities to create, to use the law, to demonstrate your good, begin with the idea of thank you and know that what proceeds after that is yours. And so it is. All right. Let's do an affirmation together, shall we? I openly give thanks for the mystery behind all I receive, knowing good and bad are simply designs of my mind. And so it is. It is our healing time, a time for prayer, time to use the power of positive thinking in an affirmative way, following the method that was laid down by the great teacher and distilled by our own founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, called affirmative prayer, scientific mind treatment. Recognize there is only spirit. Unify with that spirit. Realize you're good. Say thank you for that realization and let it go. Release it into the law. So what shall we bring forth into manifestation this week as a community together, for either individuals, for ourselves, for the world? Let's bring that vibration out, because the vibration is really what works. The cosmic vibration, it's quantum. It really is. This stuff, it vibrates around and it gets hit into these. The waves are going right like this, okay? And then our word speaks. They go into the dips of the wave. They spin around and they become matter. This is science will tell you this. This is the quantum thing. It's like, I did it elementary school style. They probably use X's and stuff on the board, but it works that way. So let's try it right now. Let's experiment with it and see what we can demonstrate this week. I invite you to share words. Patty, Brad, Jen, safe travel, our leaders. That was a powerful movement of spirit right there. Already we have unified the one mind as we spoke in one voice, all expressing from that place of love and releasing words into law. So we are now realizing that there is peace and respect. There is healing taking place. There is harmony moving forward between our neighbors, our friends, those that we consider perhaps not friends, our political leaders, our religions, knowing that while they may think that they are on different sides, it's only the one, expressing individualized in many, many ways, many paths, many mansions in my Father's house. I go to prepare a table for you. I anoint my enemies. It's all good showing up. Everywhere we look, there are these messages of healing taking place. So right now, in this moment, we just recognize the intentions that are set forth for more good to unfold in people's lives are being realized by the words we have spoken and by the law that is listening and by the love that we apply to it. So we just say thank you for all of that and release this prayer into a perfect law that says yes, yes to all of it. And so it is.